Let's take a look at this back pain brand priced below inventory cost with Shark Tank offers and $3.7 million of crowdfunding, recently listed for sale at an asking price of $170,000 and currently losing $9,000, I'm guessing, on an annual basis. In this video here, I'm going to go through and kind of unpack some of the key details in this business listing and share some of my experience-based insight into what I think about the business, the opportunity that it presents, and the valuation. Now, I have to say, a distressed listing like this is not something I really look much into. And if you were signed up to the Acumen Wire newsletter, you know my focus is on established, profitable, and time-tested online businesses. But occasionally, it is fun to take a look at these distressed listings when they come up. And this one here just came up literally minutes ago. I got the text message from Quiet Light of their new listing here, reading basically these details, and I decided to open it up and make a video. So I'm basically just winging it at this point. I have not seen any of the other details about this business other than what we've got on our screen here. So on that note, let's jump into it. I'm going to skim through, pull some details out of the teaser. I'm not going to read the whole teaser, but pull out some details, and then we'll come back and talk about the details that I call out as interesting. All right. And on that note, if you feel like there's anything I am missing out on in this video, let me know in the comments below. All right, so jumping into it here, we'll start with the first line. Note, this is a distressed sale and will follow a different process than most listings. This is a distressed asset sale for a 10-year-old back pain and posture e-commerce brand priced at a fraction of the included inventory landed cost. This landed cost here, I think we'll talk about that because that is something that's important. It's always important to understand what they're talking about, the basis of the inventory, or what the cost basis of the inventory will be. I'm not going to jump into that too much yet. The listing offers buyers a rare chance to acquire a proven and globally validated product at a significant discount from its historical value. The company has raised $3.7 million from more than 35,000 crowdfunding backers, received multiple Shark Tank investment offers, and achieved #1 bestseller status on Amazon, all while building a loyal customer base that consistently reports life-changing results. So saying they got a good product. Included in the sale are approximately $33,000 of units ready to sell, worth approximately $318,000, landed with more than $1.5 million in retail value. Okay, so those are some key details, along with a patent for an ancillary product ready to launch, established manufacturing partners, and all core brand assets. When marketing was active, even as recently as 2021, the product sold extremely well. Significant growth opportunities are already validated: physical therapy / chiropractic wholesale channels, corporate ergonomics programs, international marketplaces, and paid socials, where the product's instant transformation demo consistently performs. Bundles and light subscription offerings can further increase AOV. For an experienced operator or strategic buyer, this is a rare chance to acquire premium intellectual property, substantially discounted inventory, and proven demand in a massive category. And it can be yours for an asking price of $170,000. At least that's what they have here. And I have to say, there was a lot good that I read in that teaser. I'm wondering if it will be an auction. But they're not saying that, right? Like, they're saying that you can buy the business at a substantially discounted price relative to the inventory, priced at a fraction of the included inventory landed cost. So, you know, how they're phrasing this and posting an asking price and not mentioning an auction makes it seem like this is the asking price that they're going for. So let's talk about the inventory. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the product and the patent. I think that is very valuable, and some other things. We'll start with the inventory. Just to kind of get this out of the way as like prerequisite information. Whenever you're buying an e-commerce business, particularly with physical products, you need to know A, if the inventory is included in the asking price, and B, how it's valued. A lot of times, sellers want to sell the inventory at the retail value, right? They'll say, oh, this includes $1 million of inventory, and that is the retail value of the inventory, not the cost. Here they're giving us the 1.5 million in retail with approximately 318K in landed value. That's the value that it actually costs them to get that inventory. So it's nice to know. And at 170, that is less than half of the value of the inventory. So that's good. There's a lot here that reads really good in this teaser, as I've kind of already said. So let's talk about that. The product was selling successfully up until 2021. It's raised 3.7 million from 35,000 crowdfunders. It has Shark Tank investments, and it's been around 10 years. Why is it squandering now? That's the big question. That's what really jumps out at me when I read all this. Like, what happened? Why is this thing going south? Because it seems like it had a lot of traction. And I'd love to know what the sales were beforehand. And it was even a #1 bestseller on Amazon. Like, where is the disconnect here between the business's fundamentals and the information in the teaser? That is something you really need to smoke out, because this is a huge disconnect. This isn't a small disconnect. This is huge. Like, they've got some killer accolades, I guess, right? Some killer, call outs, some killer substantiation behind the traction this business has had. But obviously the bottom line number does not reflect that. So as a potential buyer, you really need to unpack that. And then they also mentioned that they have a patent in here somewhere. That is also, very good. Right? We all know the value of patents. Yeah, so there's a lot to love here. I'm still perplexed by the asking price. Who should buy this business? And that is always something that you have to, consider whenever you're looking at a business listing, right? Like, why am I the right buyer for this? Because there's a lot of businesses that are good for different buyers and may not be good for some buyers. A lot of that will depend on why this business is kind of squandered away at this point. I don't know how else to say that. But I think that the right buyer for this would be somebody that obviously has marketing skills, or somebody that has distribution for the product, and also somebody, and this is really, really important, somebody that has the experience and the ability to get this into a 3PL warehouse very quick. I don't know what the arrangement is right now for the inventory, but no matter how you look at it, you are still getting $340,000 of inventory, or excuse me, $318,000 of inventory right when you buy this business. So it's got to go somewhere, and you have to be able to get it into a warehouse and get it moving very quick. The longer it takes you to get this stuff moving again, the more cost and expense you ultimately incur. So I think that really sets the precedent for who the buyer should be, and that should be somebody that is experienced with getting e-commerce brands running real quickly, and somebody that has the available time to sort this out, right? Like, if you can't buy this and drop what you're doing for 3 months to focus on getting this business rolling again, you are not the right buyer for the business. And I think if this is not implied, if this is your first online business acquisition, or your first step into physical product e-commerce, like, for example, I have a lot of experience with online business, but I do not have much experience recently. And that recently being in the last 15 years, or more so 10 to 12 years. I had a physical product e-commerce business from 2009 to 2012. But since then, I've not really dabbled in the physical product e-commerce world. This business is really not in my wheelhouse. I'd have a lot of figuring out to do. I don't know the right 3PL to get it to. There's 3PLs that are better or worse for certain scenarios and certain types of inventory. Somebody that really knows that is who would be best suited to buy this business here. So Let's kind of shift gears here and finally talk about the asking price. Is it worth $170,000? And that's tough to answer because we don't really have the details explaining the disconnect between the success that it touts here in the teaser and the ultimate poor financial performance. But I think that it will be sold, and I think it would transact here at this $170,000 price point, maybe even more. Again, we don't know if they're trying to run an auction process or what. As I pointed out, some of the details imply, that it's going to sell for a fraction of the included inventory cost. So seems like they're planning on it selling for less than the $318,000 landed inventory cost that they tout. But then up here, they talk about this different process and details and timeline. It kind of says to me like they're trying to run an auction. I'm not really sure what they're going for here, but still, nonetheless, it seems like they're assuming it's going to go for less than $318,000, somewhere in that range of maybe say more than 170 to 318. And I think, considering what we're seeing here, I think there is some opportunity here. But the valuation is very, 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 and I can't stress that, very specific enough to the right buyer. Somebody with e-commerce experience and somebody that has time in front of them, right, for the next 3 months from the time they close this to get it rolling and turn it around. That is my thought and my take on this business here. If there's anything you feel like I missed out on, or let me know, again, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And if you did find this video helpful or insightful, or any of the other videos on my channel here where I talk about online business acquisitions and review these recently listed online business acquisition opportunities, you know the drill. Smash that like button to help me out in the YouTube algorithm. I am calling it a wrap and signing off.